Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be part 3 of putting my 6-cylinder engine together. Okay, I'm going to put the cam in the engine. What I have is a comp cam. It's a 260H. It has a 440 lift, 212 at 50 thousandths lift duration, 110 lobe separation. It's a cam that I put in the engine back in 2012. It runs fine. It's got a 1,000 to 5,000 RPM range. And the important thing with a flat tappet cam, you got to have some really good lubricant on the cam lobes and on the bottom of the lifters. I have a variety of stuff here. I put engines together for many years and you end up with a lot of leftovers. Got some comp cam lube. What's that one? Stay Lube, CRC brand, engine assembly, MSD, ARP. This ARP assembly lube is good for cams too, not only nuts and bolts. And Melling, Mel Lube. I'm going to use the Melling today only because it's a convenient container. I already have it sitting upside down so that it'll get to the pour spout. And let me set you guys up here. I got the cam just stuck into the block. Now, some people put the cam in the engine first before they put the crank in. On a 6-cylinder, it doesn't really matter because the cam is not over the crank. It's off to the side, so you can put it in whenever you want. I did put some oil on the journals of the cam, but on the lobes and on the gear, I'm going to put assembly lube. If I can get the thing to open up here. Assembly lube it's a thicker, stickier, gooey substance than just oil. You don't want to bang this around in there like I was just doing either. So I want to coat all the lobes liberally. And when I put the lifters in, I put a lot on the bottom of the lifters too. Now this stuff will stay where you put it. It doesn't like run and drip off over time. Like, tomorrow, the next day, next week, it's still going to be on here. Oil will run off. Assembly lube stays. I'm going to get all these coated up good. This one in between these two lobes is the fuel pump lobe, I guess, cam lobe. It operates the fuel pump. I'm almost done here. Just hang in there, guys. This is an important step, and I don't want to rush it or screw it up, so I'm taking my time to do it right. Get this gear, distributor gear. A couple more lobes here. And the last lobe. Okay, these are all glued up now. Now, I'm going to slide that in. I put a bolt in the end of the cam to help hold it. Now you want to kind of slide it in without banging everything around. And get it into the next cam bearing easily. Turn it, okay. Feel around. So you guys probably have a better view of what's going on than I do. Some engines you can reach in there and grab it and guide it, but got to do things the hard way now and then too. Can't always take the easy route. Let me see how I'm doing here. Feel around in there. Feels like I'm almost at the end. Is that it? Yep, that's it. Okay. That's in. I'm a mess. Let me clean off my hands. Next stage of the operation here is to put on the timing chain and gear set. Okay, back to pause. Okay, I'm going to try to show this to you here. I have the crank in the position where the number one piston's top dead center. The keyway is pointed right at the cam. The cam keyway is pointed right down at the crankshaft keyway. They need to be in line. That's called straight up. And I already put the cam retaining plate on the engine, torqued it down to 25 foot-pounds, and I like to use Loctite. So I put red Loctite on those bolts. I'm going to use red Loctite on the cam gear bolt also, because I don't want that coming apart. I just bought a stock style timing set, a chain, 2 gears. Now I put yellow paint marks on the gears, so when they're together, it'd be easier for you to see on the camera, because they're going to go like that. Dot to dot, they call it, but I put a line on that too. So we're going to hook the chain over the gear. The chain's already pre-oiled. I had it soaking in oil, well, for a few days now, actually. And then these are going to go together like that. So I'm going to slide, start the crank gear. Right. Start the crank gear. Come on. It goes on one way. There we go. All right. Get those dot to dot. Slide that in. And then we're going to get this to go over the cam, keeping that dot to dot relationship. Of course, it's fighting me a little bit. There we go. All right, so what I need to do, see, the cam is pushed all the way into the block. Cam needs to be pulled out a little more so I can get this to engage properly. So I'm going to use the cam bolt to kind of pull it together. But you can see we're dot to dot. And I have to look up the specs on tightening this cam bolt. It's a good sized bolt with a real thick washer. I already put red Loctite on it. And that's going to go in there. But I don't know the torque specs, so I'll look that up and bring you guys back later. Okay, I just put timing chain cover on there. There's 7 bolts that hold it. Now, here's a tip for all of you. When you go to put a timing chain cover on, you want this oil seal centered in that crankshaft opening. The way to do that is take your harmonic balancer, you put that on the engine before you tighten these bolts up. That way, this stays centered on that and it prevents an oil leak. So what I did is I put the bolts in loose, shoved this in there, got it happy, let's call it, like centered. and then I snugged up the bolts and then torqued them. But that's a good tip right there. Remember that. Okay, the next step is the oil pan. I got the new oil pan gaskets here. It's a 4-piece thing. There's a gasket on each side, plus these rubber end rings that go across the curved portion. I already put the oil pump on. It's good and tight. New gasket between the oil pump and the block, and a new gasket between the oil pump pickup and the oil pump. Everything's tight. It's ready to go. So I'm going to open this gasket up, put it on, and then put the big oil pan on there. I don't need to bore you watching me putting bolts in holes. It's pretty simple. So I'll just get to it and come back after. All right, oil pan's all on. It's tight. Time to roll the engine right side up. And I'm going to put the water pump on. I like studs. Put these studs in, I don't know, 10, 12 years ago. This one here is a bolt, because that goes with a bracket that goes to the alternator, air conditioner, compressor assembly. All right. Water pump gasket, make sure it fits. It's the right one. Slid right on. Now, you want to get some mechanics, get their panties in a wad. Start talking to them about different gasket materials and what you put on gaskets, what gaskets you don't put anything on. Put them on dry, some you put on goo. You're going to get all kinds of opinions, and they're going to all disagree with each other. They're all going to have their favorite thing. I tried all kinds of different concoctions. What I ended up using on just about all gaskets except the head gasket, Permatex Aviation Form-A-Gasket. Figure if it's good enough for airplanes and they trust it with your lives in the air, it's good enough for this engine. And it's a gooey substance that doesn't harden. It stays gooey and pliable, but yet seals well. It's a mess. I'm going to find a paper towel here and clean up. Where'd I put my paper towel? It's over here on the floor. Okay. A little starting fluid, paper towel. Okay, clean. All right. Let you mechanics fight about what kind of gasket sealer you like and don't like. And, oh, I can build an 800 horse LS engine and I don't put any sealer. Well, good for you. This is not an 800 horse engine. Okay, let me find my water pump. Oh, I think it's in the other side of the garage. Yep, I got it. Got the fuel pump too while I was in there. Fuel pump, water pump pulley, water pump. Okay, make sure that gasket surface is perfect. Looks like it is. Slide her on. just like that. I will put this bolt in for now. I know I'm going to have to take it out when I put the alternator and air conditioning compressor on there. This. Get that on there, like that. This one will go down here. And 1/2 inch. I was using this to put the oil pan on. Old school. Speed handle or speed wrench or something like that. That one won't go in all the way tight because it needs that bracket. This bolt's too long. Bottom's out. So for now, to keep that gasket compressed in there, I'm going to stick a spacer on there. That one's too thick. About this one. Nope. I'll get it, guys. Just relax. You guys get too excited. Okay. I'm just going to snug this because there's not a lot of thread engagement there. All right, those are good for now. That'll stay sealed. And figure out what's next in the procedure here. Could be the head gasket and head, but I have to put the lifters in before I put the head on because you can't do it once the head's on. Put the fuel pump on. We do a lot of things. I'll figure it out.